Hector and Jamina, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. How's it going, Chernobyls?
Hey, good, good. Thank you for joining. Hey,
Hi,
Carl.
Nobles. Hi, Hector, and hello to our.
Hey, hey. Awesome. Well, we've got two things on the agenda today. Actually, I'll just like call this meeting to order. Call the meeting to order like 6:40. We've got two things on the agenda today. First one, I'll just do some live calendaring of the two cannabis events that we have coming up. One on 420, and I think the other one was 5/9. And I know that y'all sent in your availability. I don't think you did, Jamirna, but that's okay. We can do it on the phone. And then after that, Arielsla is going to give us the presentation that she'll be presenting to the full board meeting at the end of the month on all the studies of the findings. And then after that, we'll do a little bit of new business. We have a new gentleman here that I guess opened up a shop on 161st in Broadway, you said?
Yes.
Welcome him to the task force. And then from there, we'll just end it, hopefully before it's dark out. All right? Very good. So we'll just like kind of kick this off here. So we have two events coming up. Actually, is there an extra pen? Can you pass me the pen down there?
Oh, yeah.
And thank you. And also, can you pass me that just count the run of show? Yeah, the agenda. Thank you. Let's take some notes. So okay, cool. So check it out. We have two events coming up. We have one 420 with Happy Monkey. It's like an education day. It's a pretty long day. Let me bring this up. Marijuana. Perfect. 2X cannabis events. Okay, cool. It's a pretty long day. It will go from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the 20th. So let's see here, 420. And Hector, I think that you said I might be able to wing 2 to 7:30. You said 2 to 7:30, but we're not gonna have you stay out there that long. Still TBD on May 10th. That's fine, and we can actually probably we can probably figure out the May 10th thing a little bit and probably in the next meeting to see how calendars kind of come down. Let's see, Carmen's not here yet, but
I know she can do the 420, and then she might be able to do the May event, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, she said she might be able to do an hour later in the afternoon or early evening. So I'll probably put her down. Let's see, it goes to 10, right? Later in the afternoon or early evening. So I'll probably put her down from like maybe 4 to 6, just for now, and then she won't be here for the one on May 9th.
And Nobles, just for clarification,
May 10th.
420,
Yep.
is it at Happy Monkey or is it at Hudson?
It's at the Hudson, aka
Okay.
La Marina. Yep.
Oh, wonderful. Got it.
Yeah, like the one up there right off of Dykeman.
Yeah, well, you mean the May?
The 421. The May one, I
okay.
think it's moved locations a couple times, so let me get back to you.
Okay.
I know it's going to be in a building somewhere. I just don't know what building
Yeah,
it
I
is
can
because
probably do that one.
yeah, and it's far enough out too that like we can probably float with it. And let's see here, Carl, you said hope you're well regarding the building due shift on Saturday, May 10.
Yeah.
What about 420? You around? Hey,
No,
not around 420. All right, no problem on
that's
that.
Easter Day, right? Oh,
Is it Easter?
yeah.
God, really?
Yeah.
Lord, I'm out here sinning. It is what it is. All right.
That's the problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Maybe you said
Nobles,
you
I have
might
a
be
quick
around.
question.
What's up, Jamirna?
So I was wondering for the 421 at the Hudson, is there like a preferred time for us to be there? Because I could accommodate for the day. If there's a specific time
Yeah.
that would be preferred, then I could work with that.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking that. Honestly, I can work around you because what my goal was like just to fill in the holes and just like be there when other people can't be there and making sure people aren't there like too long. Um, right now, it's looking like it'd be great if you could be there the late night shift, 8 to 10, because that could help out. But if not, you and Hector can probably do it early on if you want. I mean, kind of want to have representation there all day because, it's. I think during the day we might have more of like curious people come around. We'll have to like tell them about the task force and stuff. And at night's probably going to be more of like a little bit of a turn up, which is cool. So like, whichever one works for you and your schedule, I can work around.
Okay. All right, sounds good. So I could do
Cool.
I could start with Hector and like I'll stay there
All
afterward.
right. I'll just put you down like 2 to 4 for right now. And
All right.
then and then we'll check in again, like what is it, next week? I'll check in again, like probably like mid next week or something like that. Cool.
Nobles, quick
What
question.
up?
Do we have any marketing materials, or is there anything that you will
Yeah,
want us
we'll
to
definitely have
create?
materials. We'll definitely have materials.
Okay.
We'll have, I might even like we'll definitely come up with that. But if you have any ideas, I was thinking like a mock questionnaire for people if they're interested in like what potential cannabis dispensaries have to fill out. So like we'll probably bring a mock questionnaire. I don't know if there's any like takeaways that y'all will have from your study. If not, no pressure or whatever. But we could probably have that on the table if you wanted. But I think the mock questionnaire is probably the biggest because when it comes to education, most of the conversation at this table, I'm assuming, is going to be about how do we review potential marijuana dispensaries in our area. And so if we have that, we can just walk them through the questionnaire and just have it as a takeaway. That was my main thing. Probably some Community Board 12 stickers. I'll talk to Catherine about what else she wants.
Okay. Understood.
Cool.
Thank you, Nobles.
Sweet. And then I'll work with the office to get anything printed and things like that.
Let me ask
What
you,
up?
so how are the two events different from one another?
Yeah, so the Happy Monkey event, well, they're actually very similar. So when we started off the beginning of this year, one of the things we know we wanted to do from a task force was to do more like educational outreach. And when it came to these two, like obviously, certainly Happy Monkey, but also Annette's like cannabis conglomerate of well, it's not a business, but like organization also saw that. And so last year it took us a little bit. No one really did anything. So this year in January they approached us like, we wanted to do this. Could you bring a table just for education purposes? This is where we're looking for educational opportunities. It was perfect. 420 obviously just being 420. And Annette's thing moved dates. It used to be like April 9th, but then it moved to May 10th. And so like that's kind of how these two came to be. So they're both for education. Happy Monkeys will be a mix of distributors, their company, like local educators and groups, things like that. And then also be like a celebration, if you will. I mean, it's 420, it's gonna be like that. Whereas the May 10th one is really more about policy, community education, same as Happy Monkey. I don't think they're gonna have distributors at that one. That one's still coming together a little bit, but they're both very much about education of the community. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does. How long is
Happy Monkey's longest, 2 to 10. And the May 10th one, I don't know yet. I'm still kind of waiting to get more details about that.
Lastly, the venue. Where is this one venued?
So yeah, Happy Monkey's going to be at La Marina. Do you know the Hudson?
Dyckman?
Yeah, right off of Dyckman.
Yeah, I mean, I was at an event.
Yeah, like the restaurant in the Marina area. Yeah. It's gonna be right there, but it's gonna be in the parking lot.
Oh, really?
And then also like kind of probably bleed into the park organically.
Okay. Well,
and then the May 10th one, I still got to figure out where that one is.
Yeah.
So
dude, I wish
it's gonna be great. Yeah, look, it's Easter.
Yeah,
I get
that's
it.
The problem.
I get it.
I may not even be in town. That's the problem.
I mean, it's a holiday. I totally see that. So guys, cool. Thank you for the Happy Monkey timings. I will send out an email, and I'll plug myself in the holes here for coverage, and just let me know if that doesn't work. I might put out a word to the rest of the community board too. See, like Jim Berlin is very big in this space. He might want to volunteer, so it won't just be on us, but this will be a preliminary schedule for the 420 event. Sweet. Any questions before I move on to the second part of the agenda? Awesome. So the CUNY school is here, and she wanted to present the studies of the finding that you've been working on for like a year.
Yeah. We started having this conversation in January of 2024.
Wow. Do you have it? Like, let me see if I can share the screen. Are you signed?
I'm actually signed in. If
Word. Yeah. Do you?
Helpful.
I mean, if you're a panelist, I think you can do it.
Oh, cool.
Let me just make sure you're a panelist, though. All right, there you are.
So, did you have like a card or something?
I can promote you.
So I can give you my information.
Okay. Allowed to talk, and I think promote to panelist.
I'm gonna stay muted for the.
There we go. All right, so this is we're joining webinar as panelists. Oh,
Beautiful.
Perfect. Hey. Okay,
Perfect.
cool. So let's see if we can share from that.
Perfect. Okay, 1 second.
It works. Oh my god. Wonderful.
This is so easy. This
Sweet.
is so much easier.
And they still got the audio, so you're good.
She said she's going to be at the general board meeting.
The what?
The general board.
Yeah. So she's presenting here basically because we just wanted to hear it like more in depth, and then in the general board meeting, you probably have like 2 minutes to give some of the broad
Oh, that
strokes.
kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, and if anyone has questions from the public, they can ask her.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, before I start, I just wanted to add that even though I won't be able to make the 420 event,
Yep.
I do want to make sure that we promote it
Cool.
in our newsletter and our social media. So if you have any information about that, I hooked
you up with the
checked
Happy
in
Monkey guys, right?
Yeah, I checked in with them
yeah.
too and was like, send us the details.
But we don't have anything
there's a lot.
official
Okay,
coming out
okay,
from
okay.
us, but
Okay,
from
cool.
them for sure, if you can. But if you want something official from us, because it might be a private public thing with them, I can make something to send it out to you.
There's something in the Q&A.
Oh, there's a question. Here,
Not
hold on a
related?
second.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. So Deborah.
Hey, Deborah, thank you for putting Ariel Sliz. All of our contact info
Yes.
is right there.
Thank you.
Cool.
So our director, Deborah Levine, is also on the call. Ooh, let me go back. Go back a slide. Okay. So for those of you who don't know who we are, who I am, my name is Ariel Sella Holbrook Smith. I'm coming to you from the CUNY Graduate School of Public Health and Health Policy, which is the only public graduate school of public health and health policy in New York City.
Oh,
and
wow.
with that, we really have, we honor the responsibility to really be a part of the community and a part of the fabric of the community and not just sit in the community. And so part of that has been collaborating with CB12's Cannabis Taskforce on both a mapping effort. So we did the community mapping in July, and then we also worked on the community perception survey, trying to get an assessment of the community knowledge, attitudes, and belief around cannabis as the landscape changes. So this is also just a little bit about us, who we are.
I love it.
I'll send a document with the slides after this, so if you really want to.
No, but I love that
look
opening
at this.
because it's a good breakdown for the general board. Good.
Yeah. And we are doing this work as part of our Cannabis Equity Collaborative, which was developed alongside community to address the issues, concerns of Upper Manhattan's communities and also build around the education aspects. Okay, and then contributors. So authors, including the CUNY SPH team, and then also acknowledgements. Thank you so much for your collaboration on this. As Nobles mentioned, it has been over a year in the making, and so we're happy to be able to report back now. Okay, so just a little bit of background on the project, just to set a baseline for whoever's on the call, whoever's listening in. I know we have folks who weren't here in the beginning. But the goal was to really understand the community perceptions, attitudes, and beliefs around cannabis, assess the impact of cannabis legislation and legalization in Upper Manhattan, and really to continue to support Upper Manhattan's communities, CBs 9, 10, 11, and 12. For those of you who aren't familiar, we also have done similar work with community boards 9, 10, and 11. And so we'll talk a little bit more about the results of all of that. And then just taking a look at the methods. So we did begin talking about the project in January 2024, and then worked alongside the task force in coordinating the survey dissemination and the mapping schedule, conducting the outreach at community events. Hi, Carmen.
Hey.
And then we also worked alongside local businesses who participated in sharing the survey flyers via their newsletter or posting it on the storefronts. And the responses to the survey are anonymous. I did a little visual timeline here, just because, we love a good visual.
That's the good sum up one for the general board.
Yes,
I love it.
Yeah. So
Good.
timeline.
Sweet.
Cool.
I love it.
And so now to get into the findings.
Nobody's got land use stuff?
No, I have to have transportation and then leave.
Oh,
and make
transportation,
it.
right.
He's running behind, so
It's all
that
good.
means since I'm vice chair, I'll have to lead that meeting.
Oh,
Otherwise,
oh
I
my
normally
God.
No,
just
please,
end up going late.
I'll send the.
Please. I have you done from 4 to 6 on 420, but we can, if that doesn't work for you, don't worry about it, we'll figure it out. Yeah, no problem.
And I'll just catch up, so just.
New cannabis dispensary in the house, 161st and Broadway. What was the name of the site?
Broadway Strains.
Broadway Strains.
Oh, I know, brother, this one here.
Yes.
That's
the other
the one
guy.
that didn't
Yeah.
come before us?
Yeah. So we're gonna
Yeah,
take
I've
that
actually
new
worked in
business,
there
old
before.
business. But we're gonna take that in new
Nice.
business, old business, having this
Thank
like kind of,
thank
you
you.
know,
Nice layout.
present himself and stuff. But do what you gotta do. Sorry to stop the flow.
No worries, no worries.
Alright.
Okay, so we had a total of 55 respondents who completed the survey between July 18th and November 1st, which is when the survey was running. Just to get into some of the demographics, so we did ask some demo information.
Great.
So this is the distribution across the gender spectrum, and a couple people prefer not to say, which is fair.
Yeah.
What is yellow?
Spanish
So
speakers.
Spanish, thank you actually for asking. So on these slides where you see the split, so the dark blue is English responses and the orange, golden, yellow color is the Spanish
Got it,
responses.
okay,
Thank you for asking.
sure.
This is an age
Here we
distribution.
go.
So kind of halfway split
No, this is
between like
perfect. This is what you wanna
45,
see.
yeah. So of the people who did respond to the age question, so just around half were 45
Yeah.
plus, and then we got some different distribution between 18 to 24, 25 to 34,
Yep.
35 to 54.
I like that 45 plus is highly represented.
Mm-hmm.
That's usually the folks that are coming out to talk.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And then getting into the actual survey results. So now I'm going to break them down kind of by questions, more so. So when it came to knowledge about the cannabis laws, not a ton of people really know about the 3-ounce legal limit law. So that's interesting in terms of like baseline, what knowledge do people have about like
And
possession
that's a
of
lot for
cannabis?
recreational use,
Yeah.
I'll be honest, but hey, whatever.
Yeah, well.
Yep.
And then, are you aware of any cannabis dispensaries or outlets in your immediate neighborhood? Most people said yes. Quite a few people said no as well. There were a handful of prefer not to answer. So that's interesting. And then, did you know that cannabis sellers must be licensed by New York State to sell cannabis lawfully?
That's good though.
This is
That's
good because it shows that people are getting the information
Yeah.
about licensed dispensaries being
Exactly. That's
Mhm.
very good.
Attitudes towards cannabis outlets. This was really interesting.
Wow.
So are you in favor of licensed cannabis dispensaries? Most people are strongly in favor, or at least somewhat in favor.
That is amazingly good. This
Yeah.
is very good. All right.
For most of the respondents.
I mean, I think I asked this last meeting, you know, just certainly not, you don't need to do this. I love to see this broken down by age. Like, because if you can, not a pressure, it could be like a little tidbit you throw in when you talk in the general meeting, like, and of this, 45% is, 45 plus or whatever. Because I also want to kind of, not necessarily dispel, but maybe find out, like, if the older demographic, I mean, it can't be, because the older demographic is so well represented in this, well, maybe outside of the ones that didn't say their age, though. But it'd be really interesting to see if, like, half of the older demographic is in here, which would be really cool. But
That would be interesting. There's an upcoming slide that may speak to that a little bit,
sweet.
but
All right.
yeah, okay. And then in terms of attitudes towards unlicensed dispensaries, so this one isn't broken down by English, Spanish, but
It's fine.
the general feedback.
Wow, so not, yeah, bam, good.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is the one that I was talking about, where it talks about like health concerns for older adults, youth, or pregnant people.
Yes.
So the dark blue is concerns for adults ages 70 years or older. Light blue is 20 years old or younger, and then green is for pregnant people. So I would say that based off of this, most of the concern is around like the youth
Yeah,
accessing,
yeah.
and then not a lot of concern for older adults,
Yeah, no, they're like,
which is
right,
important.
70.
And then we have some variation when it comes to pregnant people.
Damn, if I could go back through time, I would probably ask for this to be 40 instead of 70. Because they're like, yeah, whatever, those people are on the way out anyway, let them smoke. But like, alright.
Yeah.
That might be a question we get in the general board, if you want to show something like this. I think you have some other things in the 2-minute space. Alright, keep going. Cool.
And then perceptions of cannabis legalization.
Ooh.
So overall, do you think that the law that legalized adult use cannabis in New York will be beneficial or harmful? And then was the distribution. So,
Huh. This is the gray area. This is the
Yeah.
educational mind we need to make up.
mhm,
Good.
yeah. So most people leaning towards at least somewhat beneficial or, yeah.
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 No, that's good.
If you look at the whole thing, it's maybe 50% in favor.
Yeah, definitely majority
Yeah.
in favor, or yeah, definitely majority and like overwhelming majority, like in favor or on the fence, or not even on the fence. Just might not, just don't care, neither beneficial or harmful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it is what it is.
Yeah, because I think if we would look at the people who are neither beneficial or harmful,
Yeah.
it's a good amount who are on the fence, which I think, as you mentioned, speaks to
Yeah, because
potential
we have
for
the momentum
education.
over here. Oh, this
Yeah.
is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people, a lot of community boards, they oppose it. Some people that it's very dangerous, they don't want this.
Mm-hmm.
At
Yeah,
the same time, they have 3 illegal ones in their block,
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which is right next to the kids, and they need to realize and study this, what you guys did.
Mm-hmm.
Then they will understand that most of the people are in favor.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
Better.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, totally. And this is good for us too because, you know, in the eventuality as we, you know, review more legal marijuana dispensaries in the area, we'll be able to have this as kind of like
Sure.
an ace in the hole to be like, look, like, you know, I hear what you're saying, but, you know, when we did a study, da 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 da. So,
Yeah.
good. All right.
Cool. This was interesting. Cannabis use in the past 30 days for the respondents. So,
I'm surprised the preferred not to answer is small,
Yeah.
is that small. This is great. Wow. Either all or nothing. All right, Washington Heights.
right.
Wow, okay.
And then just some points of discussion. So just
It's
like
great.
a summary review. So generally, people didn't know very much about the 3-ounce possession law. It seems like there is a high amount of knowledge related to licensed outlets or like unlicensed outlets and outlet proximity. People are strongly in favor of licensed outlets versus not in favor of unlicensed outlets. There is some concern about impact on youth and potentially pregnant people. And then we see the age split, about half being 45 plus, and then the other being between 25 and 44. And then responses were split between those who had used cannabis in the last 0 days and those who had not. I remember we had a discussion about comparing between CB12 and CB
Yeah.
10 and 11. So, interesting thing, and maybe Deborah can speak more to this if she's
I can
still
get on the
online.
panel. Yeah.
But when that survey was conducted with 9, 10, and 11, the goal was a little different, and it was during a different time frame, like 2022 to 2023, and so it was earlier on in the legalization. What did arise from that were similar sentiments, yes, but also there was a lot more question around like traffic concerns and people being parked up in front of the shop and things like that. So it was more specific in that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Deborah, is there anything that you want to add to that related to 9, 10, and 11?
You should be able
So
to speak.
yes, that was actually right as the legislation passed. So that was really within the first year. So people weren't clear about the rules, regulations. People hadn't really had a chance to read MARTA yet, nor really understand it. Only thing that they saw were the illicit shops. And
Right.
so that is where the sort of disagreement really pushed. And the thing that I will say is, I think the thing that's been most consistent is the need for additional education for pregnant people before they get pregnant
Mm.
about, concerns about consumption. And I think the other thing that is consistent across all the community boards is the concern around illicit shops The other thing that's also consistent is the need for community boards to play a larger role in how decisions are made from OCM. So as we're reading sort of the notes and things that people are concluding or from the conversations that we've had at community boards, that has become very clear that the community boards really want to partner with OCM, but also feel like they need to have the education and be clear about how the impending rules will impact their ability to engage legal shops and what happens in their community.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, like, I think my general takeaway, especially we know with that added context here, is that in our neighborhood, there's a positive momentum in terms of like the positive sentiment momentum, if you will, of, our, like, of the community folks here. But there's still like work that needs to be done to kind of convert those that might be like low touch where it is right now, like those folks that were kind of in the middle that didn't know either way if this is good or bad. And honestly, that's an education transparency thing and showing up where we need to. Just keep doing that good work. More in this? Yeah.
Just last couple things, suggestions, thoughts. Last month we talked a little bit during the task force meeting about documenting the protocols for future dispensary applicants, and we took a look at some drafted language,
Yep.
which I forwarded to y'all, and then just continuing the work with educational opportunities, which I mean are well on their way. And I know we've also talked about dispensary tours as an opportunity for education. So those are the.
What's this thing on the
Yes.
right side? This is your
So
wording?
that actually, this was a screen grab of the document that I sent over
Okay.
with some of that suggested language about things that.
For the survey?
No, for things that you can include on your website.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
That was
Okay.
that conversation.
Cool.
So this is just a screenshot of that.
All right,
first
sweet.
page,
Yeah, I'll make sure to
some of
resurface that with Catherine
information.
in the office then.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And yeah, contact information.
All right.
And otherwise,
Yeah, I mean, just make this amazing thing into 2 minutes for the general board meeting and you're good.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I want to add is that right now we're in a good space in terms of where illicit shops can go in Community
Yeah.
Board 12. But at some point, there is going to be this issue where because you have such large parts of CB12 that dispensaries can't go, you at some point are going to face the issue of what happens with if they change the regulations around area location, distances, because remember, in some parts you have almost 7, 8 blocks of
Yeah.
industrial area.
Yeah.
So right now you're in a good space, but some of the
Yep.
things that you will have to keep an eye on, like are the changes around distance
Yep.
and
You think
how
it might go
does,
down? You think it might go down? Oh,
yes, and
interesting.
that was actually
Interesting.
in the documents that they sent out for public comment that didn't quite
Oh,
make all of the community boards. So there is a concern
great heads up.
that they are talking about changing the regulations and what the role of the community boards will be in making those decisions for those exceptions. So
Sweet.
I
Yeah, that was probably
do
the
want to
stickiest
put that back
conversation.
on the radar
Thank
because
you. Yeah.
it's critical that we don't take our eye off the prize.
Yeah. That's a really good heads up because then that was probably the stickiest part of when we developed the survey. That was the stickiest part of the conversation of the application. Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Hi, how are you?
I don't think she can see you.
Good. I
Oh.
can't see you, but I can
Yeah,
sort of
all
see you in
good.
the corner there. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, my question is, they're looking to reduce from 1,000 square feet to 500 square feet of, between the dispensaries?
There is a conversation in locations where there is difficulty getting realty space, or because of these sort of constraints where you have parts of communities that are industrial.
Mhm.
where there isn't commercial outlets, that they are talking about, yes, making there that there may be some exceptions to the rule, not necessarily changing the
Right.
parameters, but the exceptions. The
Yeah.
concern is community boards should be at the front of that conversation, not at the back end of that
Right.
conversation.
Right, and I hope they keep that because it's super important. Yeah, we recently had a dispensary that wanted to open up in the neighborhood, and they sent through their application to us, and it was supposed to be on 181st, right across the street from the yeshiva, and OCM like pulled it.
Why?
So we didn't get that because we don't really interface with OCM like that. It's a little bit of church and state because we're here for the community, whereas they're here for like rules, regulations, and legislation.
Because it wasn't within the distance. It was regular. It had to do again with being how close it was to a school,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I
daycare. There's a
assumed.
whole
Because
series of
it's over in
things.
that area,
Right,
it was all that exactly.
right. Because
So
you've
when
got
the application
Alianza
came to us,
Dominicana right around the corner.
oh
You've
yeah,
got there's a
when the
daycare
application came to us, I
center.
was like,
So
ooh,
yeah, I
some
don't
random
think it
CM
met
kind
the
of
criteria.
right. So this is a good segue. You got another
And then
question?
also I have another question about the illegal ones selling in the vans and some of these grocery stores. Where should we complain?
311. That's your best
311.
source.
Okay.
Definitely your best
311,
source.
and
They're
you can
very
call,
effective.
right, call 311, but also call the precinct, your
Okay.
local precinct, because the
Yeah.
community officers are also taking those complaints,
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, I haven't seen the buses in our area in a long time. Every once in a while, I'll find a illicit one pop up, but they're usually gone within like a week or two.
And I would say that the more that you're seeing ICE floating around communities, the less you're seeing sort of the vans because they sort of get caught in that
Yeah,
sweep
yeah,
process. So they're sort of evolving
yeah.
also.
Yep.
But after we complain, let's say grocery store is selling, how long does it take for them to take
It
action?
all depends. But I've seen things happen like in a week or two.
Okay.
Yeah, so like, call back in a week if it hasn't happened, as long as there's a
Sure.
record of it, and then of
Yeah.
course follow up with the precinct.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's the way it's been
Let me,
effective. Yeah, please, Carl.
So with respect to the universe of the subjects of this study, 53, do you think is a large enough universe?
53 that wanted to give their age. The study was 100, and it was always kind of directional, just a directional sentiment, not necessarily like a larger quantitative study to take deep findings from.
Right.
But I'll give you an example. If 100 people, which most of the results reflected versus the age one, which was only 53, but if 100 people shows some of the overwhelming choices that we've seen in this, and I look at market research every day in marketing, like I can assume the overall sentiment would be somewhere along like a 10% swing either way. Like that's usually what we do. So like,
And
yeah,
So let me just say that the survey was also disseminated like at food markets, and it wasn't necessarily around dispensaries per se
Right.
or people who may or may not be at a cannabis event. These were
Right.
just community folks in across community board 12 in a variety of different days, nights, weekends, some associated with the community board, but the majority weren't
yeah,
associated with the community
Yeah.
board. So it's not the best. Like,
no, but it's
of
good with
course,
the
you would
random.
love larger numbers, but when you don't give incentives to fill out the
Yeah, it's
surveys,
delicious.
and this was really done with
It's great.
students doing nights and weekends, um, you know,
It's great
it is a
work.
good representation.
Yeah.
are you are satisfied that this universe is accurate, or at least fairly accurate? That, frankly, I think it's sort of small.
Well, it's small if you want to use it for like your truth, if you will. Directional information is only an aim. So like we kind of understand from the randomness of the survey respondents, which is random. It's not prone to having any kind of leaning for cannabis or against. Or again, like to Deborah's point, it wasn't taken around a cannabis event or an anti-cannabis event. It was just randomly selected people in the neighborhood. That usually gives you some air cover for the quantity of people you have because you're getting a very diverse group to fulfill it. For my purposes, again, like as a marketer that looks at this like these kinds of studies every day, like this is very good, like for directional information in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because we could have also seen it being, no, I don't want legal cannabis dispensaries, and that would be okay. How do we counter that? But again, like the biggest things I saw from this survey with the directional piece of it is it confirms a lot of our already kind of known beliefs, where it's like people are worried about the youth, older folks have less of a concern about it, and then obviously keeping in mind like pregnant women. Those are like the top three, and SLA has the same ones, and then also that there is a positive sentiment here of where we're going as a community with it, and directionally that it's good for me.
Yeah, okay. I mean, look, if you wish to advance this study,
We
and
need
use it-
money.
yeah, I mean, if you wish to use it for something, I mean, I can envision I can imagine folks who want to attack it going first for the number.
Yeah.
Not being enough.
I would love for them to try that because I'm ready for that. Like
Okay.
honestly, like even studies in marketing, like if you're doing like I used to work in market research too in the very
Right.
beginning of my career. Like when you're doing like a product or like a product survey or something, you only invite like 30 people into your office to do the survey, and you use that information, then you extrapolate it out when you have more money behind. If you need to find something very interesting, like if we needed to find out why people maybe didn't like what's going on in our neighborhood from a legal cannabis dispensary, like I would ask Catherine for $5,000 to do like a quant study
all right.
or something. But this is pretty much affirming everywhere we're going. I don't really need to.
Okay, one
dive
last
deeper.
thing I have.
Yeah.
The 3-ounce limit.
Yes.
I mean, how did the folks respond to that? I mean, how many people, what percentage of people were aware of that situation?
It seemed like it was a very high percentage that was not aware of it. But then also, like in my mind, like that's a very big legislation legality. Like very rarely you're gonna have a consumer cannabis person with 3 ounces in their house. And trust me, like I love smoking weed. I can't even get through an ounce in like
Right.
2 weeks. So it's like 3 ounces is a lot. Like, but I mean, like, if you're gonna have 4 ounces, like you're pushing weight. Like, come on, let's be honest here.
Right.
You're not smoking
I
casually.
think what it really speaks to is, again, I think it's a lack of knowledge in the community just about basic premise of rules and what's legal and what isn't. And so I think that's really what that speaks to, is that in some cases we have heard of law enforcement being a bit more aggressive with folks who may be carrying, and people don't know what the basic law is or where they stand in that process. Or if one of our seniors goes to a legal dispensary, purchases could be a tincture, could be a cream, could be whatever, and doesn't even understand how much they could actually have or what could get them into trouble or not trouble. So
So our dispensaries, though, if I'm not mistaken, our dispensaries only sell quarters and below, right?
right, but you could go to more than one dispensary.
Wow. I mean, that would have to be, because a quarter is a quarter of an ounce. You'd have to go to a lot of dispensaries to get 3 ounces. Not saying anything you're saying is wrong. You're completely correct. Because there's other ways to still get marijuana here. So it's good to just know the legalities around it.
Right. It's just a matter of basic, like the same way we know about alcohol. And if you rattle
Right.
off, or the fact that
Right.
you know when you get into a car, you have to put your seatbelt on. You don't think twice about it.
Right.
Those are basic premises
Right.
of society that we've learned, that have integrated into our day to day.
Yep.
This just is something new that reminds us to say we have to keep talking and educating just about the basic rules
Just about the basic rules. That's a really good
of
point.
cannabis.
Damn, Deborah. Whatever they're paying you, double it. Nice
One last
job.
question.
Yeah.
What's the max you could get from one location at a time?
Quarter.
A quarter.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah, yeah.
max,
A flower. I'm not sure if they go higher than that when it comes to tinctures and stuff, but
Right?
I'm not sure.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a quarter. Everyone I've gone to.
Small quantities, we never had any issue
Yeah,
so far.
well,
where they
it's-
go over the limit.
it's not a limit of how much you can walk out with. Like, they only come in quarter packages, so I can buy like 4 quarters. Like, but I can't buy like an ounce in one.
Oh,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? So I can buy different quarters. But if I, to Deborah's point, like if I get what is it? Gosh, 4 times, if I get 12 quarters and I'm walking out the store with it, that's at legal max, basically.
So
Yeah.
here is the actual legal answer. You can purchase up to 85 grams or 3 ounces of cannabis flower and up to 24 grams of concentrated cannabis oil, tinctures, edibles, vapes in a single day.
Yeah. Oh, a single day. Look, if you're doing more than that on a day, again, you're pushing weight. Like you're starting in like another store with just horrible markups.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that. Cool. Because I'm like, 3 ounces. I trust me, I can hang with the best of them. I'm not that much. Okay, cool. Anything else on this before I move the agenda to the next piece of it? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just think about what you want to say, like the big broad. If you want to, like, holler at me, and then you want to talk to me about what the broad strokes you want to hit during the general board meetings. You're gonna have a lot of questions and good ones. I'm down to workshop it with you if you want, but I trust that you got it too. So no biggie. So last part here, new business, old business. I would say new businesses. I guess we have a new cannabis dispensary store in our area. Technically, usually what we've seen is that the new ones that OCM grants licenses to, they come to us like around the same time they get a license. Sometimes they need a little bit of assistance to find a location to open up. I'd love to hear about your ability to find like a retail location, because a lot of times sometimes landlords want to push back, and that's what we're here to kind of help with in terms of educating them and finding opportunities for legal dispensaries and stuff. So when did you get your card? When did you get in the area? Tell us about yourself.
It was applied in 2023.
Oh wow, okay.
So it took about, more than close to 2 years.
And which classification of a card was it?
This is under minority.
Okay, cool.
Yes. And so you guys help out people who needs a space?
I mean, we do a lot of things. So not only, we're all volunteers, of course, but not only do we help in that regard if there's an issue, like one of the reasons why we started this task force was we can keep an ear on how real estate is acting to legal marijuana dispensaries coming in, so we can work with other committees if there is an overall issue, which we've seen, which is kind of interesting how you've popped up, because if you didn't have any issue, that's great. But we have some of the other committees we can work with to kind of ease that if there was like a larger issue. But then also too, like making sure the neighborhood around you knows what's coming. We can do educational services in the area, things like that.
What can we do, since you are the marketing, so
Yeah.
reach out to?
Well, tell me first, like, are you guys fully open and functioning? Like,
Yes, 100%.
well, when did you guys open your doors?
It was end of February, but
Oh, wow.
we had a grand opening on the March 29th.
Wow. Okay, got it. So then you got your card
We
probably
just-
like last
yeah.
year.
Right.
Oh, okay, got it. What was your experience like finding real estate for it? Did you have to bounce around the area? Because that's one of the things why we have so little sometimes in this area. Or was it like, did you find the right business person off the bat?
No, we have through a broker we found the location.
Oh, nice.
But a lot of landlords don't want cannabis because they have the loan with the bank, which they still consider this as illegal.
Yeah, of
from
course.
the
Yeah,
government
Schedule 1, right.
Point of view. So that's the biggest issue there. That the landlords don't want it because
Could
of the
cause
law.
issues, yeah.
Sometimes the landlords, what I hear from people, they even pay off the mortgage and go with somebody who accept the cannabis.
Ah,
There are a few banks, a lot of banks.
Yep.
They want to do business with the cannabis.
yep.
So they borrow money from them. They change the loan and everything. So then they allow the cannabis to come in.
Got it. So
But
it's
some big companies,
right.
they
They're not
don't
going
want
to
it
do
at
that.
all.
No, of course not.
A lot of them.
And it shortens the pool. So it spawns the pool.
Because they have, selling the apartments for $5-6 million, and they say, it's gonna be bad impression, or you have this and that, and they don't want the negative stuff.
Yeah.
But the small landlords, they're willing to take it because they get a few dollars extra.
Yeah.
How many do we
Yeah.
have in Hannibal?
So we have 4 technically that we've approved through the community, well, not approved, but we put the community board stamp on officially. What I would recommend for you to do, for us to officially help you, like, not only educate around your area, but also like promote in certain times when we can, I would contact the office and just like have them send the survey to you. Have you?
Which office, the community?
This
board?
community, like this office you're sitting in right now.
Got it.
Yeah, I think they have like their information on the front, but it's also on the website. Very easy. and just ask for the survey that we have, because what I think might be is that now we have new and different licenses coming in after the first C licenses, which they might be called something else now. They
Right.
change the name of that all the time. And the process is starting to widen. And so I'm not surprised that you haven't heard about the community board review process. I just want to make sure you're getting on the right track so you have our support in the area, because the last thing you want to be like community people coming to you and be like, or us, and be like, what the hell's going on 161st Street? We want to be able to say like, look, we reviewed it, you're good, da da da. It's an easy survey. It's just about basically what you see, bringing your impact in the community, how you want to educate the community around you. Like if you have any ties to Washington Heights in the past, you'll see.
Where do we get all the information?
The office. Just
Office.
email them, they'll shoot it right over to
Oh,
you.
very good.
And then I would urge you to come back in April, every first Monday of the month. Come back with it, and then we'll have the rest of the board members here review it with us, and then we get to know you even more. We'll put the official stamp on your Community Board 12 reviewed cannabis dispensary.
Sure.
Give you a good neighbor sticker so people know that if they have any questions, they can come to us, and then we'll just be there.
That would be very
Support.
good, yes.
Cool. So yeah, hit up the office and then get you that survey. Not a problem.
Okay, excellent. Thank you
Good.
very much. Thank you.
That was really it.
Okay.
7:30. Anyone else? New business, old business? We good? Because if we're good to adjourn, I'll just write this down here.
Move to-
7:26.
I really
move to
like your
Say what?
the report.
Move to
Thank
adjourn.
you.
I'm gonna, you know,
seconded.
I'm gonna contact.
Yeah, Jamuna and those, y'all
some
still here?
Questions and need your help.
Sure,
Okay, thank you very much.
of course.
Hey, yo, Hector, can you just like second our adjournment?
How many folks do you have?
Second.
Hey, all right, you guys, I love you. We'll see you.